3 o'clock, nice to have you. If you want to hear Tiger talk, and not anything mean, it was a question that you're either optimistic or pessimistic about. Odyssey.com Rewind is there for you. We started the show with a little baseball. I want to talk a little Lions here, and it's just something interesting. And I'd be lying to you if I didn't think of it. And I listened to Jim Costa this morning, who was with Stoney, and they kind of touched on a similar topic I was going to do. And I go, all right, well, let me at least run it by people. And obviously, a lot was made about the Lions using the number 12 overall pick on a running back. There are still people, it doesn't even matter if Jahmyr Gibbs is good. They're still going to be upset they used that pick there. And I can't tell them they're wrong. I can just tell them that I at least am willing to move forward with it. I'm not going to I'm not watching the team. But this Dalvin Cook thing and this Saquon Barkley thing are every reason why you don't take a running back at 12. You don't. Now, certain teams, certain years, you'll just say, okay, I'll live with it. I think the Lions are one. I do. But work with me. Right now we're watching. Dalvin Cook is available for simply money. And Saquon Barkley is doing everything in his power to get out of New York. He is now threatening to hold out the entire season. Well, the Giants aren't going to cave and pay him like Christian McCaffrey. So it would only leave them one thing they would do, which is trade him. They're not going to have a guy sit there and not play. The point I'm making is that even when it works out, Saquon taken at number 2, Dalvin Cook taken, I forget, somewhere like 20th. Neither guy is getting a second contract with the team that took him. Because why, David?
We don't pay running backs.
Thank you, sir. Good to have you back. Minnesota said no thank you and cut him. Couldn't find a trade partner. And why would that be, David?
Because no one's paying running backs.
Thank you, sir. And Saquon Barkley, the Giants tried to give a deal to. And Saquon thought he was too good for it. And now Saquon's under a franchise tag, which has crippled the Giants' salary cap. And now the Giants are entering OTAs and are about a month from training camp. And their star has no intention on showing up. So your reward, even when it works with the running back you selected high, is you're either going to cut him, end up in a bloody dispute, or make a stupid contract like, say, the Panthers did with McCaffrey or Titans did for Derrick Henry. Okay? So here's my question. Does watching what your future could play out as, or maybe to a lesser extent, seeing a guy like Dalvin Cook on the open market where you could have got him for nothing, does it give you any buyer's remorse using the 12th pick on Jahmyr Gibbs? Now understand, Gibbs has not played a game. Also understand factually, I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I'll never love taking a player there at 12. I only could make sense of it because it was pretty clear your GM did not like this draft. And a lot of GMs in football did not like this draft. It was a bad draft up high. So I can make sense of what they did, but I'll never tell you it's a great idea to do what they did. The point I'm making is, as I watch the drama unfold, whether it be what Minnesota did, what the Giants are having to do, it does give me a little pause and go, wow, if it even works out, let's say Gibbs is a star, guys. Let's say Gibbs is really, really good. Hell, let's say he's Dalvin Cook. Well, here's how it ends. And why is that?
We don't pay running backs.
Am I wrong when all this came out, David, that that's the first thing I thought of? Outside of it being a fun show bit? Am I wrong? Does any of it matter? I mean, realistically, if Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't re-sign here and he leads us to playoff wins or, heaven forbid, a Super Bowl, none of it will matter. We agree on that, right?
Correct.
But in the meantime, does it give you any pause post-haste? And you went, wow, we really took a running back 12th overall.
No, it didn't, because the way I see it and the way with the value of running backs, the way I see it, it's just, use them up. So get what you can before the second contract. And I know that's never a way to look at it because you're using a first round pick on a player. You want to re-sign him. You want to give him an extension after 5 years. You do. But their value is, okay, just use them up. Get what the Lions need to do. You're right. Get playoff wins. Go to the NFC Championship game. Whatever you need to do with that while he's cheap, do it.
But does seeing it, and maybe I'm asking more of the people. I mean, David, your team did use a first-round pick on a running back as well, Najee Harris.
He's not going to last.
Well, here's my point. It's playing out right in front of us that you are going to use this guy for 4 to 5 years, and it's over. Seeing the reality of it with Dalvin Cook and Saquon Barkley, and I obviously don't think the Steelers are going to pay Najee Harris in another year or two, does it give you pause? And if it doesn't, that's okay. I just wondered if watching the news unfold this weekend, if you looked at it and went, you know what? I love the player. I'm excited to watch him this fall. But, man, that's pretty screwed up what we did.
Yeah, here's what I'll say, because I think the Saquon and my running back it's the same situation where they're drafted because they were good, of course, but they're also drafted because they needed to be the offense. That quarterback and Ben Roethlisberger at the end and Daniel Jones cannot lead an offense. They need a running game. So in a way, it's, you use them up, see what you can get, and then we go from there. Now, I do understand where fans will say, look, then we wasted a first-round pick. I understand that.
No,
completely.
But I'm saying, what does Jahmyr Gibbs need to do in order for you to not look back and go, we effed up? Maybe that's the question for you, the listener. What has to transpire the next couple years in order for you to not look back and go, man, we made a mistake there? Because realistically, we all agree Jahmyr Gibbs can't be anything other than a star. Jahmyr Gibbs can't just be Jahmyr Gibbs can't be solid. You use a first-round pick on a back. Look, it's one thing if it's pick 32 and you've won the Super Bowl and you want to use a luxury selection like the Chiefs did. When you take a player number 12 overall, or look, for instance, the New York Giants selection of Saquon Barkley at number 2 worked in that he was good. However, the pick was a complete disaster because it has led to nothing. And the end game of it is a bloody dispute where this player killed our salary cap and is now going to hold out. The selection of Dalvin Cook. He was good, but it's a failure because the team didn't win anything. And he didn't sign a second deal. And they couldn't trade him. They had to let him walk away. So ask yourself, what beyond Gibbs having to be a star has to transpire for this draft pick to be viewed with no regrets? I'll be honest. It would have to be an appearance in the NFC title game. It'd have to be a couple of division titles. It would have to be this team really being, guys, we could go to the Super Bowl this year. And look, if you fall short in the NFC title game, bleep happens. But I understand it's not all on Gibbs. I understand that. I'm saying I'm watching it play out around the league. For instance, another year from now, there's a very good chance David is going through what Viking fans and Giants fans are going through. The Najee Harris pick will be a failure. I don't know. And I'm contradicting myself because I'm willing to give it a chance, and I do love the player. But I don't know if taking a running back at 12 or at 2 or at 20 can ever work out unless you win the Super Bowl. Because realistically, you've taken a ticking time bomb. None of these teams are paying the player. They're using him, and they're either cutting him, trading him, bloody dispute. Name a first-round running back of late where you feel like it's worked out. Did it work out for the Rams because they won a Super Bowl with Todd Gurley? Well, not really, because they paid him too early.
went to a Super Bowl. They didn't win the Super Bowl.
Oh, you're right. They didn't. They lost to New England.
Yeah, correct.
So then did it work? No, it didn't. Name a first-round running back where it's worked.
And look.
Where the team made the ultimate run. I'm only bringing it up because I'd be lying to my listeners if I didn't think about it this weekend and go, you know, if they didn't take Gibbs, Lions are under the cap. Dalvin Cook, although he looks earmarked for Miami, would he relish the opportunity to bust Minnesota's ass twice a year behind a dominant O-line and a perfect complement to David Montgomery? And the Lions could overpay. Not that I'd want to do it. My point is it's just money. And the number 12 pick could have been, guy's pick, I don't know, Jackson Smith and Jigba. It could have been a corner, whatever. Is that wrong of me? Am I letting my personal bias of how I feel about Saquon Barkley distort your team? Like, I want the Giants to cut Saquon Barkley. I don't want to deal with it. I'm okay if you go, Mike, come on. You're a little too close to it. And I'll state it for the record again. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I love the player. I understand the Lions had an unbelievable grade on him, and I am willing to give it a chance. But I would be lying to you if I said that the events of the past week with the running back position, along with me pondering, when is the last time a first-round running back drafted high actually netted the team a Lombardi trophy?
See, and I want to cut it at the knees before it starts. Contribute and help them win, because Clyde Edwards-Helaire cannot be that guy. Yes, he was drafted in the first round, but he was not the reason why they won the Super Bowl. I think he was inactive for the Super Bowl. So let's not do that, people. Okay, it was not Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You have to go way back to find a running back that was drafted in the first round that contributed to a Super Bowl.
And you can't say Leonard Fournette. He was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Thank you.
Now, did it almost work? Did they make the AFC title game? Did they almost get there? Yes. But it's hard for me, you sit here and you go, every reason I tell my listeners why I never want to use that pick on a back is still true. Yet, I don't have a choice, but I have to give it a shot, right? Like, I have to root for this to work. But make no mistake, if the Lions are able to cross the finish line and do the unthinkable, they'll be the first one to use a first-round pick on a back that I can think of. And I'm not sitting here telling you I've done 25 years of research. I'm sure somebody will have something. But it's a tough bar to clear when you use a first-round pick on a back. I think that's the lesson. 248-539-9797. We'll get with your phone calls next.